So when you send an email or stream a movie or, jump on a video call, where does that data actually go? We've all been told it lives in the cloud, right? But the reality is way more physical, it's way more powerful, and most of it sits at the very bottom of our oceans. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, we kind of picture our data just floating around up there in some, digital ether. We imagine this network of satellites and signals just beaming information invisibly through the air. And look, it's a nice, clean image, but it's also pretty much completely wrong. So if the internet isn't actually up in the sky, then where is the vast, vast majority of our international data traffic going? Well, the answer is kind of hiding in plain sight, but also completely out of view. That's the number, 99%. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but that's the portion of all international communications that does not travel through the air. Not by satellite, not by magic. Yep, it's down there. The global internet is a massive physical network of fiber optic cables laid all across the seabed, connecting continents, connecting entire economies. Turns out the cloud has an ocean floor. Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on this incredible hidden infrastructure. Because these subsea cables, they're not just some cool tech marvel. They are the actual, literal backbone of our modern world. Just think about that number for a second. 8.6 trillion euros. Every single day. We're not just talking about emails and QCat videos here. This is the circulatory system of the entire global economy, and it's all flowing through these little bundles of fiber that are no thicker than a garden hose. It's wild. So what happens when you add just one new high-capacity cable to this whole network? Well, the economic ripple effects are just immense. Let's take a look at a really specific case, the Maria cable, which connects the US to Spain. You can actually see this perfect chain reaction unfold. Okay, so a new cable lands, boom. That immediately creates this huge surge in available bandwidth. More supply means more competition, and that forces prices for internet to start dropping. And of course, when internet gets cheaper and better, more businesses and more regular people get connected. And all of that fuels real, measurable economic growth. And this chart shows that third step perfectly. Look. The gray line shows what prices were supposed to do, kind of tick up a little. But the blue line, that's what actually happened after Maria went live. Prices didn't just stop rising, they fell by almost 4% against what everyone expected. That's the power of this new infrastructure right there. So, what's the grand total? What's the real impact of that price drop and all that new connectivity? For just this one cable, Maria, it adds up to an economic boost of 16.7 billion euros. And that's not a one-time thing. That's every single year. And just to put that number in perspective for you, that single cable is responsible for creating what's equivalent to 6% of a normal year's economic growth for the entire continent. So the point is, this isn't some small-scale impact. This is a huge macroeconomic event. Okay, so if the cables are the data highways, where does all that traffic actually go? Well, it ends up in these unbelievably fortified cities we call data centers. But, not all data centers are created equal. Not by a long shot. At the very, very top of the pyramid, you've got these Tier 4 data centers. They're the absolute gold standard. I mean, they're designed with so much redundancy, so many backups for the backups, that they can handle pretty much any unplanned failure, think power outages, equipment malfunctions, you name it, without any disruption to the services they're providing. So this Tier 4 certification guarantees 99.995% availability. What does that actually mean? It means less than 26 minutes of potential downtime per year. And why does that insane level of precision matter so much? Because this is where the data for our most critical services lives. Your banking info, healthcare records, the financial markets. There is literally no room for error. But here's the catch. This amazing, resilient infrastructure, it is not distributed equally. Not at all. Whether you have the world's data at your fingertips really just depends on where you happen to live. You see, the big European hubs, cities like Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, and Paris, they're basically magnets for these cables and data centers. They get all the investment, all the fastest speeds, but at the same time, you have tons of rural communities that are left behind, really struggling just to get basic high-speed internet. And the estimated cost to fix this, to bridge that gap just in Europe, a staggering 200 billion euros. And all of this brings us to the future, because as our reliance on this physical network grows and grows, the stakes become so much higher. It's not just about technology or economics anymore. This quote from Portugal's Deputy Minister for Communications, I think it just perfectly captures this huge shift in thinking. These cables aren't just budget items now. They're seen as essential tools for national and even continental strategy. The ability to secure your own data pathways, to be independent of other nations, that's becoming a huge part of what people are calling digital sovereignty. And that really leaves us with the big, critical question for the years ahead. The internet might feel like this open, borderless space, but at the end of the day, it's built on very real, very physical foundations. And the people who build and control those foundations, they're the ones who will increasingly define power in the 21st century.